Hello, hello. How are you amazing people doing? I am back with another video. I am so sorry it's taking me forever to upload new content, but I'm busy. So if you're on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And of course, Facebook, follow me, TikTok, follow me. Let me jump straight on into this video because this is truly an important video. Let's speak about the African American community. I will speak about us because I know how it goes down in the African American community when it pertains to childhood molestation. When are we going to really understand how important it is to have that conversation with our children? And I say our children because I believe it takes a community to raise kids. We often wonder why men are so promiscuous, particularly men. And I'll speak about men for a moment because for some reason, folks just assume that men are not molested. It doesn't affect them. It doesn't have an impact on them as it would a little girl. But the same effects that it has on a little girl could potentially be the same effects of a man, a little boy. Because one day that little boy is going to grow in to a teenager and then an adult. Do you want that same little boy molesting another little girl because he thinks that this is okay? And even if for a moment he thought and know that it's wrong once he becomes an adult, when it's in their minds, if they're not taken care of mentally, and I'm talking about getting some serious therapy, although they know it's wrong, they may not be able to stop themselves from doing it. So oftentimes we have a tendency of saying we will deal with it within the family. You deal with it within the family and nothing is never done. Nothing is never accomplished that way because it's supposed to be such a secret. What happens in this household stays in this household. Later on, it won't be in that household. You have to start talking about this thing right now and dealing with it. Let me tell you something. If you say anything to Tracy regarding a child being molested, just know that I am going to speak out on it. I am too guilty because it's like, okay, you don't want to say anything about it. You just let them deal with it. You let the family deal with it. And then once again, nothing happens. A girlfriend and I was just recently talking, and it's like, who protects the children? Who protects our children? Which is so true. Now, I do agree that you could only go back so far with it. All you could do is speak about it, speak on it. Excuse me for that delay. Had to pause for a moment. But anyway, we have got to be diligent about speaking up for what is right. I know sometimes it's very difficult to feel like we're putting ourselves into someone else's situation, but you have to use wisdom, use some discretion of how you would go about confronting that situation when it pertains to a child being molested. Because let me tell you something. We think about the little girls that's walking around here right now half naked. You don't know what they were exposed to. You really just don't know. You don't have a clue. So instead of judging them, why don't we take the time to talk to that young girl that we may see with her cheeks hanging out, her blouse knitted or tied all the way to her breast? And we get it. The young people, they have the bodies now to flaunt it, and this is what they're doing. But have a conversation with them. It could be a church member, that young lady in the church, hey girl, what's going on with you? Is everything okay at home? Are you doing okay? How's school? Have that conversation instead of just automatically assuming that a child is okay. Then you mess around and you have that woman who was molested who becomes someone's wife, and she hardly wants to be intimate with him, and you wonder why. Or the flip side of it, she may be overly sexually driven, so much so to her husband may not be able to satisfy her sexual desires. Why? Because she could have potentially been introduced to sex as a young little girl. And when I say little girl, I'm not talking about a teenager specifically. I'm talking about a 5 or 6 year old little girl. Don't tell me it doesn't happen. I know firsthand that it does. I know that it does. Because when I first became sexually active, I was not afraid. Why would I have been when it was already introduced to me at a young age? So, if anything, I was more curious. And that's another thing. Make sure, men, that you love on your daughters and show her what a good man is supposed to be about. Because uh, if she has low self-esteem, she's going to be driven by the attention that she's getting from other men, other boys. And let's face it, all attention is not good attention. So you want to make sure that you're ravishing your daughters with love. Mothers, if you're a single parent, ravish your daughters with love, affection, and put men into her life. Whether it's the men at the church who is responsible for the youth department, or it could be that uncle, your brother, that you know is straight. I'm not talking about just anyone now, but you know your brother is straight. These are very good men. Let them have conversations with her. Because as I've said, the last thing we want to do is remember that 1 year old will turn 5, that 5 will turn 10, 15, 20, and if things is not dealt with, you will have a problem. I believe that this is a huge part of the narcissists that we have out here. Who knows what they were exposed to as children? And they have that huge appetite for sex. You don't ask yourself the question, why? So remember that. Talk to your children about childhood molestation. Tell them the do's and don'ts. Even if you have to write, get yourself a therapist or find someone who's really good in this area. You can talk to me. Make out a list and you check it off with your children of what healthy touching is like and what unhealthy touching is like, so that they be well aware of what's going on. Have that conversation. And when your child, your niece, your nephew, your cousin, whoever it is, if you ever run into a situation where they've told you they've been sexually touched, say something about it. It's a hard pill to swallow when it's your family, but you have to be willing to say something. Because if you know about it, then you're almost just as guilty as the one who's done it. So let's do something about that. That's important. Y'all please share this video. Also, if you've not already done so, as I've mentioned in the beginning, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell so that you will be notified when I am uploading new content. Facebook, you guys follow me. This is near and dear to my heart because not only have I experienced it, but I know so many little ones who have. I shouldn't say, that may be an exaggeration, so many, but I know several. Let's just say that. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.